I just got the right thumbstick out, and it says MEGH. Now, according to iFixit, they have a Type A and a Type B thumbstick. The Type A will say MEDA on it, and the Type B will say MHDA. Mine says MEGH, but I have a pre-production unit, so I'm wondering if this is going to work at all. We'll find out when I'm done. I've had the Steam Deck for over a year at this point, and I've often said that I wasn't going to do any big modifications to it. Now, your definition of big modifications and my definition of big modifications are wildly different, I'm sure. To me, a big modification is replacing the thumbsticks. I want to know, before we get going, leave a comment down below. What is the biggest modification that you've done to your Steam Deck? Okay, that's something I'm very, very curious about. What I'm going to do is a big modification for me, and I'm going to replace the thumbsticks in my Steam Deck with Hall effect joysticks. If you don't know what Hall effect joysticks are, basically they use electromagnets instead of potentiometers in order to measure how much you're moving your thumbstick on the X or Y axis. The benefit to using Hall effect joysticks is that they're less prone to experiencing drift. And then the second benefit to Hall effect joysticks is they can kind of get rid of the dead zone and make your joysticks work better. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's get started. Step number one, I've got to take my Steam Deck and I got to turn it off. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to hit the button, go down to power, and let's try that again. Oh, I hit B instead of A. And then I'm going to come down here and hit shut down. All right, now that that's turned off, the next step is I got to remove my dbrand case from the Steam Deck. That's pretty easy to do. And speaking of cases, I'm going to use the official Steam Deck case as a thing to lay my Steam Deck upside down in. That way it doesn't move on me. All right, so we've got 8 screws on the back that I have to remove, and we have to make sure that we're separated. The 4 that are on the outside, I'm going to set over here on the left, and the 4 that are on the inside, I'm going to set over here to the right of my iPad. All right, so let's start with the 4 outside screws. Now, one thing that Valve will tell you is that these are self-tapping screws, and because they're self-tapping screws, you got to be very, very careful with how hard you twist them back in when you're done, because they can easily get stripped or they can damage the actual parts of your Steam Deck. Okay, the next step is to unclip the back cover, and that's what these spudgers are for. So iFixit sent a bunch of them. So all I have to do is find like a space. Oh, holy cow. I almost made a huge mistake. My SD card was still in the Steam Deck. That would have been very sad. That's a terabyte SD card that I almost just broke in half. Oh, that would have been so upsetting. All right, let's flip this back around over to here. Okay, the next step, now that I've got the back case off, they say that we're supposed to remove this tape so that we can take off the shield. Now, the only reason that we're doing this is so that we can remove or disconnect the battery to keep bad things from happening. I really don't want to have to take off the shield, but that's what I'm going to do. So I've got my tweezers here, and I'm going to be as careful as I can so I can put it back down. Now we've got 3 screws holding this board shield down. We've got one right here, one right up here, and one down here. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out. Next up, remove the shield. The next thing that we have to do is we have to disconnect the battery. This is the battery right here, this weird L-shaped thing, and we've got the connector right over here. So I have to remove that. All right, and now the battery is disconnected. So we've got our left joystick over there and our right joystick over there. Next up, we need to disconnect those joysticks from their boards. So you can see right here, I've got like a little tab that is connected to the right joystick. Now the first thing I need to do is flip that tab up. And then I can remove, maybe just grab it with my hand. There we go. It's now been disconnected, okay? Now I'm gonna take out the 3 joystick screws. By the way, big thanks to my buddy Chappie for doing the soldering for me. No way that I would ever do this without Chappie, so thanks, buddy. Oh, shoot. I have thumbstick caps on my thumbsticks. Let me go ahead and remove this one too. Thumbstick caps from D-Brand. All right. I just got the right thumbstick out, and it says MEGH. Now, according to iFixit, they have a Type A and a Type B thumbstick. The Type A will say MEDA on it, and the Type B will say MHDA. Mine says MEGH, but I have a pre-production unit, so I'm wondering if this is going to work at all. We'll find out when I'm done. But here's the right thumbstick. Let's set that off to the side. And here is my Gully Kit right thumbstick with the cap already soldered on by my buddy. And you can see that it's the Gully Kit one because if you look on the back, it says Gully Kit. All I gotta do is holding this little tab out of the way, I gotta drop this in. And then replace the screws. Basically undoing everything that I just did. Now I'm going to put that ribbon cable back in. I've got the right thumbstick replaced. Now let's move on to the left thumbstick, which is basically the same steps. All right, so at this point I've got both joysticks in. If I flip the Steam Deck over, they both click, they feel fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and reconnect the battery and put everything back together. Okay, now let's turn the Steam Deck back on, but we gotta boot into desktop mode for the next step. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the Steam button, I'm gonna go down to power, and I'm going to switch to desktop mode. And once I'm in desktop mode, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to go to my utilities. Where's console? I guess I'll just bring up the keyboard instead. So Steam X KO, there we go, console. Now in console I need to type thumbstick _ cal. Slight issue, and I'm not sure what's going to happen at this point. If it says here that both Steam Deck thumbstick and trigger calibrations may not function as of SteamOS version 3.3. Functionality is expected to return in a future update. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to return to gaming mode, and we'll see if I can even use these thumbsticks. If not, I'll have to undo everything, and I don't even know if I'll put the video out. So I'm going to press Y in order to test. I'm going to move this around. Seems like it's working okay. And what I want to do is I want to click it in. I'm going to click it in with my thumb. And it's obviously not registering as moving because it's still inside the dead zone. So I'm going to reduce the dead zone. I'll reduce it down to 5,900 or 6,000. Let's see how that looks. I can still click without going into the red. So let me lower it some more, $49.92. So I'm still clicking in with the thumb and not going into the red, which is great. And this looks pretty good. Now let's go over to the right joystick. Okay, so the right joystick is working, which is great. As I click, I'm not going into the red zone. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the slider. I'm going to bring it down to $49.92, which is what I had before. $49.92. But see, it's not dead center because it hasn't been calibrated yet. So that could actually give me some drift because I'm unable to calibrate it. All right, fast forward to tomorrow, and I actually have a solution for the calibration utility. So what you have to do is you have to run these 3 commands that are right over here. The first one actually copies it from the system into your home directory. The second command makes it an executable, and then the third one actually executes it. And then once you've got it set up, you will go through, it'll tell you to not touch the thumbsticks and just press the enter key on your keyboard, and that's what I did. And then you rotate each thumbstick twice, 360 degrees all the way around, and then hit the enter key, and that's pretty much it. And I'm really happy that this issue actually came up because it allows us to see what is the difference between non-calibrated thumbsticks and calibrated thumbsticks. So as you can see here, my calibrated thumbsticks, they are much better off than my non-calibrated thumbsticks were. If I'm not touching the thumbsticks at all, you can see that it's now sitting dead center, and it wasn't doing that before. So you absolutely want to run this utility, but all you have to do is use those 3 commands, which I actually found in the comment section of iFixit's page on calibration. Let's fire up a game and see how it goes. And I'm in a mech right now, which always feels a little slow. Now, I'm by no means like good at video games. How do I do salvo core? I can't read the screen. I think it's Y. Oh, there's 2 of them. There we go, down. All right, we got rid of 1. Now, I have to say that I know that I haven't calibrated, and I'm definitely going to look into figuring out what's up with that. But, seems to be working great. So I'm not good at video games. I enjoy video games. I love talking about video games, but I've never been somebody who's actually been good at them. But I feel like that it feels pretty good. I'm happy with having these new thumbsticks in, and I'll be even happier once I'm able to fully calibrate them. I didn't realize that was going to be an issue when I started this whole thing. Anyway, if you leave a comment down below with Steam Deck and a little heart, I will favorite your comment as a thank you for watching all the way to the end. From the NerdNest, I'm Bill. Stay rad, everybody.